The objective of a war should always be to restore the peace. The question is, how do you do that when you... We're experiencing this right now with Russia and Ukraine.
So, if morality is objective, the trolley problem must have an objectively correct answer. Is flipping the switch the morally right thing to do? And if you don't know, how can you be sure that all the other tenets of the objective morality you espoused are also correct?
When we say there's objective morality, we don't mean every moral issue is easy. There are some objective moral positions given a certain set of circumstances that we might not know what the right thing to do is. But that doesn't mean there isn't a right thing to do. Most of the moral issues we deal with on a day-to-day basis are easy. Very few are complicated. The complicated ones are the ones where we have two moral laws conflicting. And this happens a lot in wartime, by the way. You know, we don't want to kill civilians, but sometimes civilians are put at risk to take out the bad guys. So how do you make a moral calculation? This is what Harry Truman had to do, by the way, at the end of World War II. Should we invade Japan? Or should we use these two weapons we've developed to try and get Japan to surrender so we don't have to invade Japan? If we had to invade Japan, there would probably be a lot more dead, but he still dropped nuclear weapons on civilians in two cities. Hard issue.
Right, so you're saying there is an objectively correct answer to the trolley problem?
There is always an objectively correct answer. It just might be hard to figure out what it is.
Okay, and when you don't know, how can you be sure that the things you are supposedly sure about aren't just things that you're wrong? Because if clearly you don't know some, then you can be wrong about others.
Let's apply this to math. There are difficult problems in math and easy problems in math. Just because I can't do differential equations because I'm a doofus doesn't mean I don't know that 2 + 2 = 4.
Right, but someone can do differential equations. Yeah. So are you saying there is a moral calculator out there who you can ask that question to and obtain an objectively correct answer?
Well, there might be, but one of the problems, of course, is that the Bible or any revelation, suppose there's another revelation out there, there's no revelation that's exhaustive that can tell you what to do in every given situation, because every given situation has certain factors in it that are unique, perhaps, to that situation. And so you've got to figure out what's the best thing to do in that situation, and it might be hard to do that.
Right, well, that's why it's written on our hearts, so we know what the right thing to do is.
What's written on our hearts is we should do good and shun evil. And on many issues, it's quite clear. We shouldn't murder, we shouldn't lie, we shouldn't steal, we shouldn't rape, obviously, okay? Those things are easy, but when you bring in factors like war, where there are so many different circumstances going on, and you're trying to find the fastest way to peace, because the objective of a war should always be to restore the peace. The question is, how do you do that when you... We're experiencing this right now with Russia and Ukraine, right? How do you thread the needle on this without rewarding Putin's aggression, but also stopping the killing that has been the greatest number of people lost in Europe since Stalingrad, 1943? How do we thread that needle? People are working on it right now.
That's what I'm asking you. I'm asking you how we figure out those answers.
Well, you try and restore the peace, and there's going to be give and take. There's going to be negotiations. There's got to be a way to do it, and that's what Trump is trying to do with Putin and Zelensky right now. And let's pray it happens soon. Because I think one thing we all know is that Ukraine is not going to beat Russia, but Ukraine might be able to resist Russia, but not forever. So is there a point where Ukraine can say, we're going to retain what we have, you're going to have Crimea and the Donbass, and we're going to put a DMZ zone, and we're going to be neighbors? Can we do that? Because we're just not going to keep killing one another. It's a hard problem.
Yeah, I was asking about the trolley problem, not Ukraine, but that's definitely hard too.
All right. Thanks, Danny. But again, notice, if there was no objective morality, we would say, it doesn't matter what you do. Why don't we nuke both countries? See, nobody says that. Why? because we know how valuable life is. If life wasn't objectively good, there would be no dilemma. There'd be no difficulty. We'd say, just kill everybody. Let's just end the problem by killing everybody. We go, that's ridiculous, because we know life is valuable.